Okay. So now what I will do is, the class is not over yet. If you are thinking that the presentation, the thing that I wanted to teach using presentation is over, I will switch over to writing with pen. So don't go anywhere. All right. So so the first thing that you should know in this course is what is a fluid. I very briefly mentioned that in the presentation. So in the presentation, I said that fluid is either liquid or gases. So liquids and gases, they are together called fluid. But there is more technical definition of that, and which sort of clarifies that how do fluid and solid differ. To understand that, I would like you to imagine the following experiment. So suppose that you have a piece of a solid. Let me draw a piece of a solid. Suppose that you have a piece of a solid. Okay. And then suppose you have some fluid here. Of course, that to have that fluid, you need a container. You can't keep your fluid like a solid. So so you can have a container here. Say these are container walls. So
सर कुछ दिख नहीं रहा है।
acha, you are not able to see. Hello, you are not able to see this.
सर आई एम नॉट एबल।
Is there anybody able to see my?
It's visible.
Yes, sir,
It's
it's visible.
visible है.
okay. So apparently the problem is with your system. Whoever said, I am recording it, so hopefully you will get its recording. But I think the problem is not from my side. So here you have a solid, okay? So the way fluid and solid actually differ is this: that if you apply a shear force, so if you fix this solid here and you apply a force in the tangential direction, what do you think will happen? It will deform.
It will deform some application of forces.
So
that?
it will deform like this. It will look something like this. So if you apply it force tangentially, it will that force will shear this solid. So it will get deformed by some amount, which you can call as theta. So there is this angle theta. So it will deform like this. Okay. Now suppose if I increase this force, if I increase this force, if increase F, then what will happen? Theta will increase. So for small deformations, you have already studied in strength of materials, and you will also study in solid mechanics that this theta is proportional to the shear stress applied here. So from that force, you can calculate the shear stress, and then you can say that it is linearly proportional to that value of theta is linearly proportional to that shear stress. So it is something like this. Okay, now come to this liquid, or so you can, if you can do this experiment with liquid as well as from with gases. It is easier to do with liquid. For gases, you have to enclose your chamber fully, because gas will just go away. I mean, and you plus, and also it is very difficult to visualize gases. So let us for the time being deal with liquid. So suppose you have liquid here, and you apply a tangential force. How do you apply? So for that, you will have to use some plate or something. You can use a small cardboard or something and pull it in this direction. So that way you can apply some tangential force. Or you, what you can do, which way you can do, is you can keep your uh, solid, oh, sorry, your liquid like this in a closed container, and you can have this plate, and you can pull this plate with a tangential force. So here is a fluid, and you are applying a tangential force over here. So now the question arises that what will happen to this liquid, or even if there is gas. So if you keep your lid very close so that the gas won't leak out, and even if you don't do, air is always there, so that is also a gas. So how will it behave? That is the question. So can any of you guess that what will happen if you pull this out, if you pull this tangentially?
So the fluid will also came into the motion.
Fluid
Fluid
will
will set.
flow, sir.
So what do you,
Yes,
so
fluid.
fluid will flow.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what will happen, I'll write here. So here if you have fluid, and here you have solid, so the same experiment is repeated for both of them. So for solid, what happens is, so you have applied a constant force F. So you apply constant force F, which means your stress is constant here, shear stress is constant. So this leads to constant theta. So in solid, when you apply this force, it will deform by angle theta. But if you keep that force constant at F, this theta will not change. So once you apply the force, the solid deforms and then it remains there as long as that force is there. If you remove this force, then it will come back. But if you keep this force at a constant value F, the value of theta, the deformation, that will remain same. So if you pull a solid with a force and you don't change the force, then the theta won't change. So this means that if you have this particular value of F, then there is an associated value of theta. For every F, you have theta for this experiment. And that you can calculate using this formula. But the situation with fluid is different. What happens in case of fluid is that, so the solid, so before I talk about fluid, you should also notice one more thing. I mean, I mentioned this, but I'll say it more clearly, that once you apply force F and you keep force at that level, at that value, then theta won't change. So theta is fixed with time unless you increase your force. So if you increase your force, then theta will change to a new value. But then again, if you keep force at this new value, that increased theta will remain constant. But that is not the case with fluid. What happens in case of fluid is that, say, if you consider the portion of fluid which is along this line, so in this case, so in case of solid, we saw that this theta, so the solid which was along this line, this changed to this line. Similarly, if you had this line initially, it would have deformed to this line by same angle theta. So what I'm saying is, if you draw a line here on the solid and you apply F, that line will also come to here, this rotated line. Similarly, in case of fluid, when you apply force F tangentially, so the fluid which is along this line will come here, just as it did for solid. It will come here. So it will deform. So this point will come here, this point will come here, this point will come here, this point will come here. So it will deform like this. It will shear. But then you will ask, then what is different with solids and fluid? What is the difference? If the fluid is also shearing just as the solid did, the difference is that it will not stop here. So when you apply force, if you apply force at t equal to 0, so at t equal to 0, you have this line. Then say if you measure its profile at t equal to 1 second, so maybe it will be here. Then you say measure its profile at t equal to 2 seconds. The fluid would have gone here. Notice that F is not changing. F is kept same. Once you apply a F, that fluid will start moving unless you stop this force. If you remove this force, then fluid will become static. But till you keep this force F, it will continuously deform. It will go on deforming. Unlike solid, where once you apply force F, it will deform and stop. It will not go further unless you increase your F. While in case of fluid, once you apply F, it will keep on deforming. So your fluid, if it is like this here, then it will go like this, it will go like this, and it will keep on shearing. So we call this as solids resist shear. Fluids do not resist shear. Why I am saying this? I am saying this because that when you applied F, that solid is resisting its motion to F. So it did have, there was an effect of F initially, but it resisted, and it maintained itself at a level. While in case of fluid, it cannot maintain itself at any level. I mean, once you apply F, it will keep on deforming, it will keep on moving. So another reason for calling this resist is, if you look at this relation, that shear stress is proportional to shear strain. So theta is basically shear strain. You can write it in terms of displacement, derivative of displacement also. So theta is rather it should be equal. It is proportional. So tau is proportional to theta, or tau is equal to g theta. So here you can see that in your electrical engineering course you have studied V is equal to IR. So V is proportional to I with a constant, with this proportionality constant R, and we call this as resistance. So we call that, so this voltage is resisted. So there is this resistance R. Similarly, here is this relation. So G, which is your shear modulus, is nothing but resistance for shear deformation. So if you have large value of G, then what will happen? You will need more value of tau for very small deformation. So even to create even to generate a very small theta, you will need a large force. That means that your solid is resisting it very much. So that's why we call it as resistance. But this relation does not hold for fluids. In fluid, shear stress is not proportional to shear strain, because there is no one value of a shear strain. The shear strain is increasing with time. So this was theta 1 at time 1 second. This is theta 2, this is theta 3. So as you can see that this theta is increasing, so you can't write this proportionality relation, this kind of relation, for a fluid. Another thing to note is that any small shear stress generates large strain. Why? Because if you have, even if you have a very small value of f tending to 0, then again uh, for the say at t equal to 1 second, maybe you will have a theta which is small, but as the time keeps increasing, that theta will keep on increasing even for very small value of f. Then it means that if you wait for long enough, you can get any value of theta even with very small value of f. This is not the case with solid. And the third thing to note is, fluid don't resist shear, uh, so they don't resist shear stress. So this theta is proportional to so here you have tau proportional to theta, or tau is equal to g. You can write it as d u by dy. I hope you have studied this. So if your u is the displacement in this direction and y is this direction, for this case we get shear stress, sorry, proportional to not u, but rather rate of u, or derivative of this thing, del u by del y. So this comes out to be, so the tau is proportional to this del vx, velocity in x, by del y. So basically, and this proportionality constant is your uh, dynamic viscosity. It is, mu is called dynamic viscosity, and it is d del vx by del vy, which is called, this quantity is called shear, 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 strain rate. Why rate? Because it is time derivative of this shear strain. So this is here it is shear strain.
So, sir,
Yes.
sir, when we putting the value of constant viscosity, so we have to remove the proportional sign, na? Yeah.
Yes. Oh, sorry, I keep on forgetting removing proportionality signs. Thank you. So here solid resist shear stress by generating different values of shear strain. Fluid cannot generate different values. I mean, fluid can't. In fluid, you can't talk of shear strain because it is keeping on. It keeps on changing with time. As time goes on, your strain will actually keep on increasing. So you can't talk of strain. You talk of strain rate. That how fast this will go on. So to understand this, you should consider same experiment but using different liquids. Say for example, you have this liquid here which is water, and then I can use different color also. So and then you also have another container which contains say honey. Okay, now we repeat this same experiment. So at t equal to 0, better to use same. So at t equal to 0, this is t equal to 0, you consider a line of fluid here. Similarly, at t equal to 0, you consider a line of fluid here. Now you apply this shear stress at t equal to 0. So what will happen? This water will deform. It will flow. It will move as an effect of that shear stress. So what will happen? It will go from here to say, for example, here. So this is t equal to 1. Again, for example. Now if you measure the same thing at t, so you apply same f, same force f, same force f, you apply same force. What will happen for honey? Can anybody guess how will it look like?
The
What will be
deformation will
different
be
for?
less compared to water.
But there is a negligible deformation.
Yes, so for the honey the deformation will be smaller compared to the water. So this line of fluid will not come by this angle. So the angle theta 1 here and the angle theta 1 here, it will be larger for water and smaller for honey. Then at another time water will move where at 2 seconds, honey will only come till this theta 2. So what you are seeing is if you wait enough, both will deform to a large value. So even for honey you can get any value of theta if you wait long enough, but the difference is for honey you need more time for same deformation, while in water you need less time. So this means that rate of change of strain for honey is smaller and rate of change of strain for water is more. Why? Because as I said, this tau is equal to mu del Vx. So Vx is velocity in the x direction. Velocity in x direction. So del Vx over del y. So this implies that del Vx over del y is equal to tau over mu. So for whichever mu is smaller, you will get more value of strain. So it is easier to deform water than to deform honey. So that's how your fluid and solid differ. Now somebody may ask that what about normal stress? So why do we use definition of shear stress only? We used in our definition shear stress to differentiate between solid and fluid. Why did we not use the normal stress? So the answer is this: for normal stress, if you apply normal stress here, if you apply your force here and you apply carefully your force here, then will generate both will resist. So both solid and fluid, they both have their bulk modulus. So for fluid also you can find a bulk modulus, and for solid also you can find bulk modulus, just as you do for solid. So the fluid do resist normal stresses. However, the only difference is that fluid resists compressive normal stresses. If you want to pull that out, then that fluid may or may not resist. It's not very clear, because there are some fluids which can resist, some can't. So that is not a very good answer for definition. So for definition purpose, fluid and solid are very well distinguished by shear stress. For compressible normal stress, they behave in a similar fashion. For tensile normal stresses, the things are complicated. They vary for different materials. Also, so this definition of solid and fluid, this definition of solid and fluid. So here I'll write instead can generate large strain. So this definition of solid and fluid works well for most materials. However, in real world, there are lots of materials also which are between solid and fluid. You can't really distinguish them clearly, whether they are fall into solid and whether they fall into fluid. So those things we are not going to deal with in this course. We will only deal with things which are clearly distinguishable.
हेलो सर.
Yes.
सर लास्ट में आपने डी वी एक्स लिखा है सर, वो डी वी एक्स कैसे आया? सर डेल्टा वी एक्स अपॉन वी वाई डी वाई.
ये ना.
यस सर.
So you are talking about this.
यस सर. डेल वी एक्स अपॉन डेल वाई.
हाँ.
सर ये कैसे आया था? वहां तो डी यू अपॉन डी वाई होता था.
हाँ नहीं बता रहा हूँ. So notice one thing. Since you are studying solid and fluid mechanics in the same semester, so generally U is used for displacement. Okay. In solid mechanics, U is used for displacement. Generally what notation is used is U, V, W for X, Y and Z displacements. In fluid mechanics, people use U, V and W for velocities, X, Y and Z velocities. In fluid mechanics, displacement is not very important, because displacement keeps on increasing. As you saw that this theta was increasing, that the fluid goes on moving. So that's why what I am doing is I will not use this notation for fluid. So UVW you will be using in your solid mechanics course for displacement. So you can keep that notation. And what I will be using is for velocity, I will be using Vx, Vy, Vz for velocities, velocity components. Okay. Now coming to how did this come? So this is basically an experimental fact. I'll describe that experiment from which this comes and detail. The experiment is similar to what I described here. So I will discuss that thing. And this experiment was done systematically done for the first time by Newton. That's why we use Newtonian Newton's name for law of viscosity. So what I was saying is, if you notice, you know this relation du by dy. This you have studied in your
Yes, sir.
strength of material. But you can't define du by dy. I am talking about u as displacement, not as velocity. Keep that in mind. So I am saying that u is your displacement and v is your velocity. This u is displacement in x. So can you define du by dy in terms of fluid? You can define, but what will be its value? Its value will keep on changing. Du by dy for small values is nothing but theta for small values, because du by dy will be tan theta, and theta tan theta for small values of theta will be equal to theta. So that's why we write this theta as del u by del y for small deformation. But in case of fluid, a, this will not be small, and b, the du by dy will keep on increasing. This du by dy is nothing but shear strain, and shear strain will keep on increasing. As you saw that this thing at theta 1, at t equal to 1 it was theta 1, at then became theta 2, then theta 3. So similarly your du by dy will keep on increasing in case of fluid. So if it keeps on increasing, then how will you relate it to your tau? You can't do that. So what we do is we don't define uh, uh, fluids in terms of shear strain. We use rate of shear strain. We use rate of strain, because I gave you this example of water and honey for explaining that different fluids have different rates of strain for same force. So you apply same stress, one fluid will have more, one fluid will deform faster than another. You can have same theta, but the time required to reach that particular value of theta will be more for honey and less for water. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
So that means that we can't deal with shear stress. We have to shear strain, sorry, we have to deal with rate of shear strain, because time is involved. That for different fluids the rate of change of shear strain is different. Shear strain is continuously changing in case of fluids. When you apply a shear stress, as long as you keep on applying that stress, that force, that shearing force, the fluid will keep on deforming, and your shear strain will keep on increasing. But the rate at which that shear strain increases, that depends on the viscosity. That's why it makes sense to not use du by dy, but its time derivative. So that's how, if you take du by dy and its time derivative, so you keep this, you take this t inside, then this will be dvx by dy. So this is very rough way of explaining things. Later we will do more rigorous way of defining this law of viscosity. But the idea is that, so I want you to understand that the way fluid and solid differ is, I'll again repeat to clarify, that solid for same force will have one single value of deformation, which is theta. So if you keep this force as constant, this theta will remain constant. However, in case of fluid, this theta will keep on changing, and how fast it will change, that will actually depend on viscosity. If the fluid is more viscous, then theta will change very slowly. Like in case of honey, this theta will change very slowly. But in case of water, compared to honey, this theta will change much faster. So the two differ in the rates, in the rate of change of theta, or du by dy, or shear strain. All these things are denoting the same, they tell you about the same thing, which is how fast it is deforming due to shear. So that's why I am saying that this tau should be proportional to dvx by dy. Dvx by dy is nothing but rate of change of du by dy. If you take its time derivative, as I have shown here, du by dy, then this will be dvx by dy, because u is nothing but, sorry, dvx, sorry, sorry, Vx is, so Vx is du over dt, velocity. I mean, things are more involved. I mean, I am not doing this rigorously because I want you to have a physical feel of how different fluids differ and why it is important to use rate of change of shear strain rather than using the shear strain itself. So I will write for your ready reference these things, that fluids, so that they have continuously deform due to shear stress. Let me give you another example. Say, for example, you have a bottle of water. Let me draw a bottle of water. Suppose you have this bottle of water. Okay. Now, if you tilt this bottle of water, what will happen is, I'll not go into detail of calculation. That calculations you will understand when you do your second fluid mechanics course. You will have some appreciation of the calculations involved. But if you just physically think about this, when you tilt this water, so here you have this bottle of water, and if you have this gravity in this direction vertically down, and if you tilt this bottle of water, what will happen is that the direction of gravity relative to the bottle will be tilted. So I am not tilting the bottle, I am just changing the direction of gravity, which is kind of having the same effect. So once you have that, there will be shear stress inside this bottle, and what will happen is, let me just tilt it for you so that you don't get confused. I'll just draw. So you have gravity here. Now suppose I tilt it. Suppose I tilt this, and now the direction of gravity will not be perpendicular to this. So the direction of gravity will remain same, of course. So let us, where is eraser? Yes. So gravity won't be in this direction. Gravity will be again in the vertical direction. So due to this change in direction of gravity, there will be a component. So inside fluid, there will be some shear stress developed due to this component of gravity, which is kind of parallel to the surface. So because of that, the fluid cannot bear that. It will keep on deforming till the surface becomes like this again. So that was I was trying to explain. So the fluid will keep on deforming till it reaches a position at which the surface becomes like this, and once the surface becomes like this, all those internal shear stresses will vanish. So the fluid cannot bear those shear stresses. It will keep on deforming till those shear stresses are there. So the fluid, what I was saying was, fluid continuously deforms due to shear stress. rate of that shear stress varies with viscosity. So, for more viscous liquids, that rate of shear stress, sorry, not stress. I was talking not stress, strain actually. So the rate of that shear strain. So the fluid will continuously deform due to shear stress. Its strain will keep on increasing, and the rate at which that strain is increases, that depends on viscosity. Okay. Any confusion here?
No, sir.
All right. So now I will, since already some people have left, if I start continuum assumption, I think that some of you will miss that part. So I will keep on talking about the same thing, more about the same thing, which is basically this experiment. So this experiment which I uh, described, that you take a fluid and apply a shear stress to it, and then, so this was, as I mentioned, was done by Newton. So if you have this shear stress, and which is, as I mentioned, it is proportional to dv by dx, dv by dvx by dy. So this was experiment, this experiment was done by Newton. So he did this for various liquids, and he found that you can write this as this proportionality constant mu, and this mu is called dynamic viscosity. Okay, and its value is large for more viscous fluids. For example, honey. But if you do this experiment for some other liquids, for example, other fluids, for example, say toothpaste or jam, if you consider it as, so jam is something which is between solid and fluid. Then then you have this ketchup, tomato ketchup. If you do this similar experiment on these fluids, then you will notice that it is not valid for those fluids. So this law is valid for fluids. So rather I should say that fluids which follow this law are called Newtonian fluids. This is very similar to what we call as Hookean solids in solid mechanics. So in solid mechanics, if you have this linear proportionality relation with strain, not a strain rate. In fluid, we talk about strain rate. In solids, we talk about strain. So those solids which have this linear relation between stress and strain are called Hookean solids. In fluids, those fluids which have linear relation between stress and strain rate are called Newtonian fluids. But as I said, not all fluids are Newtonian. For example, toothpaste, for example, tomato ketchup, and there are lots of various fluids which don't follow this law. So they don't follow this linear relation, tau proportional to uh, strain rate, del Vx by del Y. So for those solids, you have to use a different relation. So there can be different relations. One relation is uh, tau is equal to k del Vx over del Y to the power n. So instead of this relation,
सर आवाज आवाज नहीं आ रही आपकी।
Hello, sir.
सर आवाज नहीं आ रही आपकी।
sorry, my connection was lost. So apparently my internet cable got unplugged. I don't know how much did you hear. Can anybody say that when was the last time that I was connected?
So you are talking about the
न्यूटोनियन फ्लूइड
relation
बता रहे
which is
थे।
used for the
I was
non-Newtonian fluids.
I was talking about non-Newtonians. So did you see this power law thing?
यस सर।
Okay. Huh. So what I was saying is that you have different kinds of fluids. So most of the fluids in our applications, they are Newtonian. They follow this relation, this this relation. However, there are some fluids which don't follow this relation, and an example of those is power law fluids. So power law fluids follow this relation, which is written like this. So you also notice that if you keep n equal to 1, then this power law reduces to Newton's law of viscosity. So if n is equal to 1, then this k will be mu. Also, you can write this relation like this: tau is equal to k times del Vx over del Y n minus 1, and here del Vx over del Y. If you compare this relation to Newton's law of viscosity, then so what is Newton's law of viscosity? It is tau equal to mu del Vx over del y. So if you compare these two, you can write mu is equal to del Vx over del y n minus 1. So we generally take its modulus to make this mu as positive, because it is a property of the fluid. So we generally write it like this, n minus 1, and this is called apparent viscosity. Of course, this is not constant. Mu for Newtonian fluids is constant. For non-Newtonian fluid, you can also think of it as non-Newtonian fluids are those fluids which has mu which varies with strain rate del Vx over del y. So mu is a function of del Vx over del y. So depending on the value of n, so maybe I'll start this thing again from the next lecture, because attendance has become thin. Okay, all right. So maybe I think that this will be enough for today's lecture. We can
Yes, sir.
continue from here for the next one. If you have any question, you can ask.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, I just want to say that we really good by getting this subject from you, because your teaching methodology is very good.
Sorry, I am not able to clearly hear you. Can you please repeat?
Hello, sir, I'm audible.
Huh?
Hello.
Yes.